Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now the Bitcoin price is forming a brand new pattern that we need to be paying attention to. And of course, I'll be covering that in just a moment alongside multiple other charts. First of all, giving you a quick update on the daily Bitcoin chart, and obviously the Bitcoin price is still trading around that range of support, coming into play at around $29,000 to $30,000 per Bitcoin. And technically, over the past one day, we did see a daily candle close slightly below 29,000, but obviously today the Bitcoin price has bounced straight back into that range of support, and that's why I mentioned in one of my last Bitcoin update videos that ideally we need to see a weekly candle close below 29,000 in order to further confirm a break below. Otherwise, what we've seen just here with a daily candle close slightly below 29,000 just isn't enough confirmation of a further break to the downside. So once again, as of right now, this is still the range of support to keep an eye on. But if you're zooming out to the 2-day Bitcoin charts, we are currently forming a bullish divergence between the January low and the most recent low. And this is also visible on the daily time frame and obviously on the 2-day time frame, but it disappears once you zoom out to the 3-day time frame and any further than that. But obviously you can clearly see that the Bitcoin price has made lower lows while the RSI has actually made higher lows between January and right now. And the last time we got a significant bullish divergence, a multi-month bullish divergence that was visible on the 2-day time frame, was back during the middle of last year, during June and July. Once again, if you're looking at the Bitcoin price during that time period, we clearly formed lower lows, while the RSI, on the other hand, formed higher lows. So this is basically a sign on the chart telling us that the bearish momentum is slowing down. We are getting weaker in this bearish trend. And so the most likely outcome from a bullish divergence is either mostly sideways price action or some slightly bullish price action. Now, obviously, we can have a much more bullish scenario, like for example, the end of July, we absolutely exploded to the upside in the Bitcoin price. But to see something that bullish, we'll really need to see the stock market start pumping back up, and at the moment, that just isn't happening. So for the most part, when you're talking about the next few weeks, maybe even the next couple months, like what we saw back in the middle of last year, and also like what we saw in the first quarter of this year, I would mostly be expecting some sort of price range for Bitcoin, not necessarily an overly bearish or overly bullish trend, but instead a price range where the Bitcoin price basically just chops around, whether that's slightly bearish or slightly bullish. But I would not be expecting any major crash like this or any major pump like this over the next few weeks or so. Now, keep in mind, this is a larger time frame, so these sort of moves, these fluctuations in the Bitcoin price within these sort of price ranges, even though they might not look that big, at least compared to these much larger moves in the market, we still end up seeing some decent sized swings within these price ranges. For example, during the middle of last year, even though we were in a somewhat sideways price range, the Bitcoin price still had 20% swings, and the same could be said about the price range that Bitcoin was in the first quarter of this year. We actually had 20 to 30% swings. So when you're zooming into the shorter term, like the hour charts, for example, then these swings in the Bitcoin price actually look a lot bigger. And so that's just something to keep in mind when I say that we could be due for some sideways price action, relatively speaking, on the larger timeframes. Once again, on the smaller timeframes, they could still look like significant moves in the Bitcoin price. And now zooming out to the weekly Bitcoin chart, and right now we are really close to that massive accumulation range in between 28,000 and 22,000, which is provided by these two moving averages, which are the 1,000-day moving average and the 200-week moving average. And as the subscribers would already know by now, pretty much every single time where the Bitcoin price enters between these two moving averages, we end up seeing a generational buying opportunity, basically the best buying opportunity you could possibly get according to Bitcoin's entire price history around these moving averages. And this can also be paired with the weekly Bitcoin RSI, because this gives us buy signals of similar significance pretty much any time where the weekly Bitcoin RSI enters into oversold territories. And if you're looking at where it is right now, we're getting very close to oversold territories, but we're not there just yet. But what has been confirmed on the weekly Bitcoin chart is the massive spike we've seen in the weekly Bitcoin volume. Now, I won't be going into the details of this chart in this video because I've been talking about it quite a lot recently on the channel. So if you want a more detailed explanation of this chart right here, definitely check out my last Bitcoin update video that I posted yesterday on the channel. And something else that I talked more about in yesterday's Bitcoin update video was this monthly Bitcoin chart, looking specifically at the monthly Bitcoin MACD. And just quickly summarizing what I said about this chart in yesterday's Bitcoin update video, crypto. Basically, if you look at the last two significant Bitcoin bear markets, which were the 2014 bear market and the 2018 bear market, roughly around halfway through each bear market, we saw a bearish cross in the monthly Bitcoin MACD, which is represented by the white vertical line. And then pretty much exactly 5 months after we saw that bearish cross in this indicator on this time frame, we bottomed out for the Bitcoin bear market in 2014 and in 2018. Once again, 5 months after the bearish cross in the monthly Bitcoin MACD. And if you're looking at the monthly Bitcoin MACD in the present day, we saw a bearish cross in this indicator on this time frame back in January, and the 5th month after January would put us in June, so next month, for a possible bear market bottom according to these two previous significant bear markets. And just giving you a really quick update on the US stock market today, this right here is the Nasdaq 100 index on the daily time frame, and today we haven't really seen a lot of action in the Nasdaq 100 index, but what would be important for the Nasdaq is to try and hold above that previous low that we set last week at around 11.7k approximately, because obviously if the Nasdaq 100 index can form a higher low, especially going into the weekly candle close, then that would be a good sign to see going into next week. But the moment we break that previous low, then that will just show us that we're still seeing a lot of bearish momentum in the stock market, which is obviously not good for crypto because, as I always say, crypto prices and the stock market are correlated a lot of the time. But whether or not prices are going up or down, it doesn't really matter because we can actually make money either way. And if you want to know how to do that, check out one of these uploads popping up right here on your screen, because in both of these videos, I reveal how I continue to make money in crypto no matter what prices are doing. But anyway, that is it for this update. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.